The Cleveland Browns just saw something in their preseason opener that could shake up their entire quarterback conversation. Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the field against the Carolina Panthers with no starting receivers, no first-team offensive line, and barely any preseason hype from the coaching staff. Yet in that setting, he delivered a performance that instantly grabbed the attention of fans and analysts across the league. This was not just about the 2 touchdowns he threw, it was about how he carried himself when everything around him said he should be just another rookie fighting for scraps. He completed 14 of 23 passes for 138 yards and 2 scores, leading multiple touchdown drives against a defense that still had some of its starters on the field early. Every throw seemed to have purpose, and every decision looked calculated, as if he had been in the Browns system for years. What made it even more intriguing was how he kept the offense moving without the safety net of big-name targets like Jerry Jeudy or David Njoku. For someone who has been working mainly with the third team in practice, this was a glimpse of a quarterback refusing to stay at the bottom of the depth chart. But here's where the story gets even more compelling. This was one night in August, not the regular season, and the Browns know how dangerous it can be to rush a young quarterback. The question now is not whether Sanders can play, but how the team should handle him after this debut. Should he get more responsibility immediately, or do they keep the reins tight? That decision will define the next chapter of this preseason, and the answer starts with understanding exactly what happened on that field. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Browns and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 300 likes on this video. The Cleveland Browns felt the game tilt the moment Shedeur Sanders took charge of the huddle. Not noise, not hype, real control. He handled cadence, shifted protections, and kept the tempo steady while the defense tried to speed him up. But here's the twist. The most important plays were not the longest throws, they were the decisions that kept the offense on schedule and turned simple looks into points. On the first scoring drive, he sold the fake, rolled left, and placed a touch throw over trailing coverage to Caden Davis. Later, when pressure came off the edge, a clean pickup in the backfield bought an extra heartbeat, and Sanders stepped up to hit Davis, breaking across the middle. What nobody is talking about is how often he made the right choice before the snap, checked into safer answers, and then trusted timing. He looked calm after a setback, called the next play with conviction, and the unit followed him. This is where the real question begins. Was this poise a one-night spark, or the start of something the staff can build on? When you watch the film, the first thing that stands out is how Shedeur Sanders managed the pocket under different looks. Instead of drifting into pressure, he kept a balanced base and slid just enough to keep throwing lanes open. On snaps where the rush tried to collapse from both sides, he didn't panic, planting firmly and delivering the ball without losing accuracy. That subtle movement is what allowed him to keep drives alive, even when the protection wasn't perfect. His connection with targets showed more than just arm strength. The one-handed grab by Luke Floriea came from a ball place where only the receiver could reach, turning a contested play into a momentum swing. On a key third down, Gage Larvadain found a soft spot in coverage, and Sanders hit him in stride to extend the drive. These moments didn't happen by chance. They were the result of reading the defense quickly and trusting his receiver's positioning. All of this builds to a bigger point. The physical tools were obvious at Colorado and Jackson State, but this debut revealed progress in timing, anticipation, and field vision. Next, we will break down where he truly sits in the current quarterback depth chart and how the Browns might weigh this performance against the experience of the veterans ahead of him. Going into the preseason opener, the Browns had their quarterback order clearly set. Joe Flacco remained the top option, valued for his experience and steady command of the offense. Behind him sat Kenny Pickett, recovering from a hamstring issue but still viewed as a veteran who could step in when healthy. Dillon Gabriel, a rookie drafted in the 3rd round, had been getting more consistent second-team work in camp, while Shedeur Sanders, also a rookie, had been operating primarily with the 3rd group. Tyler Huntley's spot was tied directly to covering for injuries in the room. Sanders' showing against Carolina has not flipped that chart overnight, but it has created a new conversation inside the building. Coaches now have to consider whether his performance justifies a bump in practice reps, even if it means trimming opportunities for others. The reality is that both rookies are still learning the system, but Sanders displayed traits under live conditions that are harder to simulate in practice, forcing the staff to look at his development track a little differently. The situation is now less about whether he belongs on the roster and more about how quickly he can climb without forcing the process. Next, we will focus on why patience can be just as important as opportunity, and how the team can balance excitement over his debut with the need to build him into a long-term asset. There is a reason the Browns are not ready to push Shedeur Sanders into a starting role after just one preseason game. The NFL has seen talented young quarterbacks rushed into action before they were ready, and the results often stall development. Sanders may have shown he can handle a fast tempo and make smart throws, but the demands of a full season against top defenses are an entirely different challenge. The goal now is to let him keep stacking progress without overloading him too soon. Keeping Joe Flacco in the lead spot is not about doubting Sanders, it is about protecting his growth. Flacco's years of experience give him the ability to handle unexpected defensive adjustments, and that knowledge is valuable for a rookie to observe. By allowing Sanders to watch how a veteran navigates game plans, reads coverages, and manages late-game pressure, the Browns can give him a learning curve that will serve him long after this preseason ends. The real test will be finding the right moments to expand his responsibilities without setting unrealistic expectations. That means targeted reps in high-value situations, where his skills can be sharpened against stronger competition. The upcoming week could be the most important stretch of Shedeur Sanders' preseason. The Browns will hold joint practices with the Philadelphia Eagles, giving him a rare chance to operate against one of the league's more disciplined defenses. These sessions are often more intense than exhibition games, with starters on both sides pushing the pace and exposing quarterbacks to game-like pressure. For a rookie still working his way up the depth chart, it is an ideal proving ground. If Sanders can show he belongs in those moments, the coaching staff will have fresh evidence to justify giving him snaps with the top offensive unit. Working alongside players like Jerry Jeudy and the starting offensive line would allow him to test his chemistry with the same group evaluated for the veteran quarterbacks. That scenario would also give the Browns a cleaner comparison of how each quarterback executes with identical personnel. The second preseason game will follow closely after these practices, and it is here that momentum can build. A strong week in both settings would not only strengthen his case for a higher spot, but also put pressure on others fighting for backup roles. Several Browns players outside the quarterback room made a strong impression in the win over Carolina. Wide receiver Caden Davis maximized his opportunities, finding the end zone twice on precise throws from Shedeur Sanders. Gage Larvadain also left his mark, turning a short yardage jet sweep into a touchdown and adding key receptions that kept drives alive. Both receivers have been working to secure depth spots, and these performances could push them closer to a roster lock. Defensively, rookies Mason Graham and Carson Schwessinger displayed the kind of energy that disrupts offensive rhythm. While Julian Okwara's 2 sacks added depth to the pass rush discussion, these contributions matter because they surround Sanders with potential playmakers and reliable support. So what do you think? Should the Browns fast-track Sanders into second-team reps now, or let him keep building step-by-step behind the veterans? Drop your thoughts below and tell us where you believe he fits when Week 1 arrives. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button and subscribe so you do not miss the next update as the quarterback battle in Cleveland heats up.